Today we have a very special guest. It's something akin to a celebrity here, really, for Ukrainians especially. It's not, we don't care about regular celebrities. We like, our guys. His call sign is Juice, and he's a fighter pilot. He flies a MiG plane, and we're going to talk with him today about the planes and about stuff that interests us, and he'll tell us about what he thinks is good for Ukraine, for this war, and for flying. Hi, guys. Also, we have Mark here. Hi.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Juice. It's an honor to have you here.
Before we begin, how are you?
Yeah, hi. I'm good enough because I'm here on the ground. I'm alive, so it's a great day today. I survived after one more sortie, one more mission. So it's a great day today.
Is it all the time? Is it all the time like this when you fly and you just think that it's the last one? Never relaxing?
It's we like just kidding like that because actually every mission can be the last. So after the successful mission, you're happy, you're alive. Some Russians are not. So yeah, it's a great day. One more great day.
Let's start with the thing that everybody has been asking you about, and every Ukrainian ever, because the magical letter F and the magical number 16, which is a plane. Why do we need that?
So the greatest problem for our Air Force at the moment is a lack of air superiority. So we don't have a good capabilities for counteractions against Russian fighter jets. First of all, like Su-35, Su-30, MiG-31, and etc. At the same time, we have a lack of like air defense capabilities. I mean aerial air defense, because we are working together with the ground air defense against cruise missiles. So this air-to-air capabilities is it's our main problem at the moment, because all Soviet jets are equipped with very outdated radars and outdated missiles as well, and missiles, it's even the bigger problem than radars, and that's why we are not capable at all against these threats. And so we like just not relevant to this combat environment as a fighter jets. So we can provide some other missions. For example, now it's a suppression of enemy air defense. It's some kinds of strike missions, but as a fighter jets, unfortunately we are not capable enough. It's a primary problem, but there are a lot of other reasons to ask for modern fighter jets, and it's really a long story. And about F-16, starting this process, we were thinking about different platforms, about different jets. I mean Western jets, of course. But actually, predictably, F-16 has become optimal option for us, and it's okay for all our requirements. It's okay for all our missions. It's not the best one. Of course, it's not the best jet in the world, because there is F-35, for example, Raptor, and other jets of the last generations. But we need to be realistic, and we need to understand that there are a few points in the list of these requirements. It should be, first of all, it should be available. It should be available. It should be capable. It should be affordable. It should be sustainable, so we can maintain it. We can support it. And actually, the list is pretty long. And according to our researchers, according to our discussions with our partners, F-16 is an optimal solution for Ukrainian Air Force at the moment.
So on practice, what will it mean? You told about the radars. So like you're flying MiG-29, and I've read your interviews, and you wrote that it is really, you're like blind when you're in this plane. Well, I always thought that those planes have radars, and you see actually, like in the movies, you see when the rocket's flying towards you and the other planes are nearby. It's not the same, right, for MiGs and for Su-27s?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are really blind during our sorties against Russian Su-35s and other stuff. First of all, it's distance. When you can find and lock the target by your radar. So you can compare, for example, 200 kilometers for Russian Su-30, not the best one, but advanced enough jet. And in our case, it's up to 80. Yeah, so you even don't know that he is in the area. And at the same moment, he had already catch you. He locked you by his radar. And the same situation with missiles, air-to-air missiles, because they have much more advanced missiles. And the main problem is not even the range of their missiles, but the principle of its work, because unfortunately we have very outdated semi-active radar missiles. So it means you need to fly towards to your enemy, having his jet in the field of view of your radar, and during all the flight of your missile, up to the moment of his jet destruction. So you need to fly like kamikaze towards to the front line, towards to his jet. At the moment, his missile is active missile, so it means it has its own radar in its head, and after the launch, Russian pilot can just turn away and fly to drink some vodka on his base and to celebrate one more aerial kill. And at the same time, his missile will fly to me, to my jet, absolutely in autonomous mode. So you don't need to help the missile with information from your radar. So it's much easier, it's much more effective, and it's much more safer. It's only about the air superiority missions. So that's why we can't even try to gain the real air superiority, because it would be just a kamikaze mission. So yeah, they're controlling their areas. We control our areas only by our ground-based air defense. But you know, it's a challenging environment, and no one has full air superiority in the east and in the south, but still we need this air superiority, because we need to fight against their bombers, against their attack jets, against their helicopters, and we need to provide a lot of different missions together with our other branches, together with other units. together with our bombers, together with our helicopters, etc. So it's very complicated task for our Air Force, and now we are just not able to help our infantry, to help our guys on the front lines.
There's something you said I would like to, like, because this is very interesting, and I don't think people talked about this a lot. At least it's not that I've, read a lot about this. So it's not just about getting a better plane for better results and to be able to, for this to be a fair fight. It's also about, well, basically both planes and pilots' safety, right? So because you just said, like, you have to fly all the way almost up to the, point of impact in order to make sure that the target was destroyed, but you're putting yourself at risk, basically. That's correct. So it's not just like Ukraine was like, yeah, we need F-16s because they're cool and we're cool. It's about actually protecting the plane and the pilot, right?
Just to survive.
Just to survive.
Just to survive, because at the moment this kind of mission is just not effective, and there's no chance to survive. For example, very serious problem from since the last months is it's Russian fighter jets and Russian bombers with guided bombs. Unfortunately, we have no response to this threat, and having the advanced fighter jets, we can try to intercept them. We can try to counteract to the fighters covering these bombers and to the bombers themselves. So it's very complicated tactical task to prevent this bombing, but only the fighter jets, only the modern Western fighter jets can help with that, because you'll never have enough Patriots. You'll never have enough NASAMS and other stuff to cover all Ukrainian border, to cover all small cities near border, and etc. etc. So aviation fighter aviation is a very critical part of layered air defense, or like combined air defense, we can call it like that, and it's very mobile, and it's very flexible. For example, cruise missiles and Shahed drones, you can intercept that just on the border, not to wait this incoming missiles just near big cities or near some critical infrastructure objects, and etc. etc. You can just shoot them on the border, and after that, of course, you can't shut everything. No system has 100% probability, but still, the air defense, ground-based air defense, will be like a backup for you, and they will hit all the targets closer to the objects, closer to the cities. So that's why F-16 is not like a only one solution that can win this war, but it's a very, very necessary for this joint victory.
So on practice, for instance, Russians are launching their rockets from Black Sea, from Russian territory. On practice, will we be able to intercept those planes when they're trying to launch on their launching range? For instance, like 200 kilometers from the front line or something like that. Will it be possible, or it's not yet there?
Yeah, because for example, they can use some kind of missiles. Not guided missiles, but just like MLRS or something like that. And In case of cruise missiles, it depends. Of course, it depends because like low speed cruise missiles, like Caliber, like KH 101, or some stuff like that, Iskander K, we can intercept them. We are trying to intercept them even using MiGs and Su-27s, but with very low probability, very low effectiveness. F-16 can make it much better, much better. At the same time, KH-22, for example, it's a target for Patriot only. So fighter jets won't help with such high speed missiles. Of course, we can try, but it's not a typical target for the fighter jets. About carriers, so backfires, Tupolev 22 M3, which carries these missiles. It flies too far from our border, so F-16 won't solve this particular problem. That's why I hope maybe some intelligent projects will help with that. Maybe some Russians supporting Ukraine will help us with this problem, I hope, but definitely not F-16.
So it's not like, like a cure for all. Like, it's very important. We really need it. But, because, you hear a lot of people saying stuff like, well, we're going to get the planes and then it's done and we have all we need. Like, it's an essential part of the war. It's very important. But obviously it's responsible for its own thing, right?
Yeah, and actually it depends. It depends on number of these jets. It depends on exact kit. I mean, exact radar, exact targeting systems, exact communication systems, and first of all, weapon, because we need a lot of different types of munitions for these jets, and not only air to air. We need HARM missiles for destroying of enemy air defense. We need smart bombs. We need smart missiles and all this stuff to be effective, as effective as we can. Yeah, it depends. It depends on the decision of the country which will provide us these jets. But still, F-16 is the best solution in this meaning, because you have plenty of different options. So a lot of countries are producing different radars, different systems for this type of aircraft, and you can modernize it like a Lego kit, and I think it's a perfect solution for the case of like we called jet coalition. There was a tank coalition. Now we need jet coalition.
Buying a jet is like buying a car. You can have different like complectations of it. Like is this what it is? Okay, I didn't know that. You see, the more you know.
Absolutely. So all the nations buying these jets are asking for different stuff, and even during the upgrades, there are some like standard upgrades, for example, for all NATO nations, but at the same time, each country is trying to make their jets better, or to upgrade them according to their limited budget. So it depends. And sometimes older jets, older airframes can be more capable than new ones. So it depends.
You mentioned the HARM missiles, anti-radiation missiles, and we have recently received them, and we somehow use them with MiGs and also JDAMs. From what we have seen from official American, doesn't it like? Why doesn't it cover what like the capabilities of F-16? We know about the range, about other stuff, but they try to compensate somehow. How it affects our capabilities with Soviet planes?
Yeah, you're right. Somehow, because capability of this weapon on MiG is very limited, and unfortunately, we are not able to employ HARM missiles or other stuff, Western stuff, as effective as we need and as it designed to be employed. So that's why we need a whole kit to be really effective. For HARM missiles, we need targeting systems, onboard targeting systems, to be more precise, to be more accurate, and for bombs as well, we need some additional systems. And first of all, it's not effective without covering, without good escorting fighter jets, covering them during the strike missions, because you can't send just bombers towards to the Su-35. It will be killed with HARMs, with JDAMs, with anything else. So we need to save our people. We need to save our jets, and that's why this like a complex solution is our priority to be deadly, to be effective, to be safe.
We heard a lot of things Western officials, Western military said about the education. One of the obstacles of giving us the modern Western planes is education of pilots. And I heard different numbers, different like 6 months, 12 months, 18 months of training needed to master the new Western airplane, F-16 particularly. How ready are Ukrainian, those trainings include usually like people flying some training jets, like from the zero experience. How ready are Ukrainian pilots who already have lots of experience, but on just different frame, different system?
Yeah, so it's called transition. It's a very standard procedure for any air force, for any type of airframe, and actually it's not a problem. It's not a great problem, and we have a lot of experience of cooperation with U.S. Air Force and with other partners, and we are absolutely sure that it's achievable, it's solvable. So we needed to start that a year ago. So it's not a problem to send some small groups of our pilots and of our ground personnel, technicians, and other guys to be trained, to be educated somewhere in the Western countries. So we need only the solution, which type of aircraft and which country will help us with the training process. We are ready to go. We are trying to prepare ourselves as we can. So our guys have some additional English courses for general English, for specific terms, and for radio communication, NATO standard radio communication, and at the same time we are trying to get to become familiar with the jet itself, and that's why you can see this like cockpit picture of F-16. Of course, it's Block 50. We hope that we'll receive them, and we are trying to do everything what we can right here, right now, even without support from the West. But anyway, we need this training. We need this training courses as soon as possible. Even in case of some delays with jets delivery itself, but we need to send our young guys to be ready to employ these jets as soon as possible. Unfortunately, we have losers, and from the group of pilots who are ready to be trained, like our leadership made a list of the best pilots. I mean the best prepared guys, and unfortunately during the last year, or maybe even less, we have lost at least three guys from this list. So it's I don't I can't tell you the all the numbers, but the total numbers. But from this list, 3 guys, it's
A lot.
it's
It's
too
a
big.
lot.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's a lot.
3 is too many. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, it's young guys. It's young guys, and that's why we need to send them as soon as possible. And a lot of older guys from reserve, they are ready to fly more missions. They are ready to have more duties with no weekend, with no like vacations and etc. They want to stay here to defend Ukraine, while these young guys will be trained.
Imagine there is an F-16 plane just sitting there somewhere, just like you found it. You and your crew of maintenance just found it. How probable is it that you could fly it? It's a question that I have.
So just to take off and land.
Yeah.
So I believe it's a few hours to make it. Not safe enough, but it's absolutely real thing. So actually, if you need to take off, you need just a checklist for start up, and all other actions all other procedures are pretty pretty similar on the different jets, and you know where to pull and push your control stick, your joystick in case of F-16. So it's not a big deal if you have a checklist. But still, still to understand the problem. So why the pilot training is so long and so expensive? Because just to take off and land, it's not enough. It's not enough. So first of all, you need to master some basic maneuvering, to fly safely, to fly in different conditions on different altitudes, in different weather, day missions, night missions. So it's all of that is complicated. But the main issue is tactics and employment of different types of weapons, and that's why F-16 training program is one of the most complicated because it has so many different missions and different types of weapon. So you need to master all of that, and that's why it's pretty complicated and it's pretty long. Still, for our case, we can send for partial course. For example, first group for partial course only for air-to-air missions, and other guys for some other missions. So I think we can be flexible enough with that. But still, it's the main issue with training is tactics and weapon employment.
So our dear Western partners, you can see our pilots are very responsible. So if you don't want to give us jets officially, you can just leave them around Ukraine and then we'll find them and first land and take off. And then, you can send them to sub courses. Just like leave them somewhere. It's fine. We'll find them. Just we'll find
on
them
the border
and he'll
of
learn to use
Slovakia
them.
or something.
Yeah, for instance, just like, look, an F-16.
Somewhere on the highway. So
By the way,
we have an experience of operations from the highway, so it's okay.
Like, how is it different from? Is it much more complicated, or is it like normal for?
So for experienced pilot, it's not a great problem. So you need to make like a few passes without landing, without touchdown, and after that you're ready. Your eyes are ready because of course it's smaller than any usual runway, but still it's a ground. We have a joke about pilots who work that anyway you will return to the ground in any case.
Yeah, that's dark.
That's very dark, but like I guess correct. I don't know.
Physically, yes.
Physically, yeah. Oh my god.
Last boring question, but I need to ask you. I wanted to ask you. From what I heard, there is a very big complications with maintenance of Western jets, particularly F-16. I heard numbers for something like 19 hours maintenance for 1 hour of flight for F-16. I'm not sure if that's true. Is that a big of a problem, and how does it compare with Soviet planes?
It doesn't look like that. So you made a sortie and you need to wait all these hours to make one more sortie. So you can make a few sorties, few days of active flights, but after that you need to provide some kinds of works on the jet, and it's standard for any platform, even for civil jets. It's the same. It depends. It depends, of course, on exact type. So there are some differences in these procedures and in these terms, but it's not a great problem because we also need to maintain our MiGs. We also need to prepare them to the flight and to maintain them after the flight. So there are a few kinds of maintenance, a few stages of maintenance. So it is a pre-flight, after flight, and other like more complicated stages after that. Sorties between missions, it's pretty similar to our jets, because actually F-16 was created at the same time like MiG-29 and Su-27. So in some senses it can be easier, more comfortable because the Western world is thinking about the
people.
comfort of people. Yeah, and even of military people. Yeah.
My God, this sounds horrible coming from a military guy. They even think about military guys. Jesus, I feel really sorry.
Yeah. because in our case, some systems or some procedures not very funny for not very fun for our personnel, and you need to work harder in some cases. For example, Western countries have like special vehicles to put missiles and bombs to the jet. In our case, we need humans.
Oh,
we need humans
you bring it
to
by hand. Oh,
yeah.
That's how it works. Okay, that's interesting.
But Western countries could provide us with that vehicles even without jets, right?
Yeah.
That's a message. Provided at least those
okay,
vehicles.
like,
it's a small.
let's make a bargain. Yeah, let's make a bargain. You don't want to give us planes, give us the stuff so our, Mr. McCullough doesn't have to, use his hands to put a thing on the thing. Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't know. You see, because all my knowledge of planes comes from a bunch of movies where everything is super fancy,
Gun.
right?
Top Gun. Have you seen it?
Have you seen Top Gun?
Yeah. It was in Washington D.C. During our advocacy visit last year. It was great experience.
I'm sorry, I'm just gonna make a horrible joke. It was great to see like how proper planes and stuff happens, right? I'm kidding.
They have
I'm kidding, no.
F-22s right there.
In some sense, yeah. They have F-18.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's a Navy jet. Yeah.
Would you like to fly one?
Yeah, actually, it's one of the options for Ukraine, but not the most realistic and maybe not the optimal one. But still, it's very good option. Very good.
I'm asking you personally. Would you like to fly one?
Yeah, definitely.
But which one would you like to fly the most?
Boss.
Okay, that's a good answer. That's a good answer.
FA-18 Hornet or Super Hornet is very close to MiG-29 in meaning of number of engines, because it's two engine aircraft. F-16 is a single engine aircraft, and it's very close in the meaning of the measures of the size of that. So during the landing, during the takeoff, you will feel maybe more comfortable because it's very physically it's very similar jet, and control system is very similar. F-16 has some differences, but generally I prefer F-16 as a platform, not for me, but for entire country, for entire Air Force. Yeah.
Oh, look at you! That is so nice.
Yeah, and there are some advantages, some real advantages of F-16. So maybe F-18 is easier for me, but not better.
There you go. You see, so like I want to sum up this like first block with like kind of sending this. I mean, we're all here to talk about one thing and to kind of explain why we need the planes and why we need Western technologies and why it's important. So, but is it correct to say that, they could supply us with, I don't know, more MiGs? I don't know, I'm not sure. But supplying Ukraine with Western technology and Western planes could really change the course of this war. Am I correct to say that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because first of all, we need capabilities. More MiGs won't give us these capabilities. So it's like a temporary solution because we'll have more platforms for harms and for other stuff, but still we won't receive any new capabilities, and we won't solve our primary problems. So yeah, anyway it's helpful because our jets are old, our jets are tired, and we need some spares. We need to maintain them. So more jets it's better anyway. But it's not a solution for this complex problem. It's not a competition of the best fighters. We need the realistic option for a good number, for good capabilities, for good logistic and maintenance future for our country, because actually our country is destroyed. I mean economically, and we need to understand that we need to pay for these jets after the victory, and of course we can put that just in museum on the next day after the victory, the great aviation victory museum, but it's not the best
some
solution.
money on that.
Yeah, to pay back.
Yeah. Yeah, but
This is
actually,
gonna be a long
good
time,
plan,
man.
actually.
Or a very expensive museum.
yeah, but actually we need these jets even after the victory, even during the peacetime, because you need to be ready with
Russia
such
won't go
neighbor.
anywhere.
Yeah, with such neighbor, you need to be ready. And actually, Air Force, I mean, ground-based air defense and fighter jets, they faced this war, faced the threats during the first hours, the first minutes of this war, and actually they were first. The radar units, the air defense units, and the fighter jets.
Like how this war started for you personally. This was a horrible night. I would say morning. Like, how did it start for the Air Force?
It was very, very tough for the Air Force, because actually radar sites and air defense sites and airfields were one of the priority targets and primary targets for Russian strikes, missile strikes, and bombers, and other stuff. So actually, Air Force met this war first. So for me, it was not so typical as for other fighter pilots, because I was at home after my duty, after my shift, and I had few hours to sleep, and I live very close to the airfield, so it was not a problem to get back to the airfield. But after the alerts, after the sirens, I just got in my car and drive to the base, and at that moment almost all our jets were in the air or on the other airfields, spare airfields, to save the jets from incoming missiles. And actually, it was very helpful. Because our jets were spread around the country, and Russian pre-planned routes. Routes of the cruise missiles. It didn't help them, so they didn't reach the target because they were flying somewhere on the western part of Ukraine, or eastern, or somewhere else. So during the first day, we didn't know where our mates are. The wives, they also didn't know where the guys are. So it was very tough day. I didn't have any job as a pilot during the first hours, and that's why I started to help our maintainers, our ground defense guys, to provide good ground defense of our base. Because there was a threat of Russian airborne assault and Russian sabotage groups and special forces, and we were getting ready to resist them, and it was very specific and very interesting experience. Absolutely. Like a ground, absolutely infantry experience, but
So
I was ready.
gonna ask, like, I need to like make sure. So you, as a pilot, basically grabbed a gun
Yeah, my
and
personal
was
gun.
ready to.
Did you train?
God.
Did
My
you train
personal
it?
gun. Yeah. I believe Melania is much more experienced shooter.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
know at this point. You both fly planes and shoot guns, and you're a very dangerous person, you know. So I'm not sure if I'm more experienced in that regard. But imagine the situation with the pilot's like, okay, there's no plane. What do? I'm just gonna grab this gun and go in the bush
Yeah.
and look for some Russians. This is Ukraine, motherfuckers. This
Yeah.
is like literally doesn't get better than this. Jesus Christ, that's fun.
Yeah, so
Oh, God.
We were working with special operation forces, with other special units, and even with Azov, with private sector and other units. All of them were attached we were assigned to our base to help us to secure that. But they were not familiar with this pretty large object, and one of my primary roles was to coordinate them, to communicate with all these units, because we have like our own leadership, and brigade commander and his deputies are responsible for this object, and they need to understand what is going on the base, and all the units should be informated about, for example, landing jet, and about all other operations. To first of all, to prevent the friendly fire, because we had a lot of cases when the guys were ready to fire their man pads or machine guns, and our mission was to coordinate all this stuff, to call to our command post to ask, is it our jet or is it enemy jet, and also some work in bushes as well, just with my rifle. So I had my own body armor, my own infantry helmet, not a pilot helmet, my own AR-15.
Oh,
and
fancy.
yeah, so
Well, he's a pilot. He's fancy, okay?
and even I even bought a car for this war.
Oh,
2 weeks
Oh.
2 weeks prior the war started. Yeah, so yeah.
This is kind of a new level of, like, these guys are like, what do I do? How do I prepare for the war? Everybody's like, well, you should get a vest and a helmet. Juice is like, no, you should get a car. 2 weeks before the war, get a car.
Yeah, because you need to transport your ass with all this stuff. Yeah, and you need to be mobile. And actually, this car is a legend of this air base, because I was providing all the stuff from charities, from local citizens. So I was transporting all the goods, and sometimes just some meals, some meals from citizens and restaurants. Sometimes grenades, sometimes shells for cannon, and so yeah.
So yeah, a pilot, an infantryman, a volunteer, and a military transport. Good, great, awesome.
So like, do you?
I feel very useless right now, Mark. How do you feel? Do you
I
feel?
useless the whole interview.
That's true.
Like, do you have some, I don't know, killer story from? I mean, I'm sure you do, because what you have experienced, like maybe 0.1% of people on the planet could experience ever. Do you have something amazing happen to you, or something very scary or extreme?
Huh.
Again, Mark, you're asking a fighter pilot.
Yeah,
Come on.
I know. I'm excited.
The first thing he said was, "Oh, I'm happy I'm alive today."
Yeah.
So you know.
Yeah, that's why.
You know, pilots, all our pilots are officers, so they were trained, they were educated in military university, and you're not like just a volunteer, not prepared volunteer. You're a professional military. You need to be physically, you need to be psychologically ready for all the stuff like that. Actually, I was waiting for that. I was understanding that it will happen. The only question when. The question how is, it was predictable, pretty predictable. So all this missile strikes and other stuff, it was predictable. Actually, I was overestimating Russians, and they showed very poor tactics, poor doctrines, poor operations, poor planning of operations, and hopefully for us, it helped, and actually it helps us at the moment as well. Psychologically, morally, I was ready for that, and after the first explosion on the base, when I was at home, it was just like 2 minutes of standby mode, just to understand that everything what was pre-planned, what was prepared is okay, and I need just to act, and that's all. After that, you do something. 24% you do something, and this like 2 weeks, about 2 weeks of infantry experience. It was like a non-stop activity. So a lot of calls, a lot of messages, a lot of meetings with absolutely different people, local people, special operations and leadership, and etc., etc., etc. I can't even choose some stories, like the most interesting stories, because it's a big process. The war is a big process, and every step is interesting, is dangerous in some case, in some meaning. So I don't know. There was like a funny experience when I was staying near the building on our base, and I was like messaging with our mates from the US. I mean, fighter pilots. They were supporting us. Morally supporting us. we're discussing what's going on. It was like the maybe third or fourth night of the war. The Russian missile just hit the fuel storage in half of kilometer or maybe less from my position.
Close.
Behind me, and I just noted the sound of the explosion and the light of explosion, and actually I was preparing that the explosion, the fire will cover all our base and the building and me as well. Hopefully the construction of this storage is safe enough. So it was, the explosion was very limited and fire was very limited. But yeah, it was like noticeable experience when you're preparing to be burned like in Vietnam. But yeah, hopefully it's okay.
But it was behind you. Cool guys don't look at explosions, so it's all
Like in movies.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. It's a plain fuel, right? So it's like, or what sort was it?
Different types of fuel.
Oh, okay.
I believe few different types, but like in movies, your shade was on the ground, and
Jesus.
You're staying, and the explosion behind you.
Did you think for a second that it was nuclear or something? Did you have this thought? Is it that?
No. It's like Vietnam flashbacks about napalm bombs.
Jeez. But you kind of logically made it to the question that was the most interesting to me. And it's something, again, it's very topical, it's very important, because we talk a lot about the psychology of the military personnel, and we talk especially about infantrymen, and about the struggles that people are having, and about traumas that go through. And nobody ever speaks about, well, you have a very specific profession within the military. What about, pilots' psychological kind of stress and emotions during the war? So obviously you also go through a lot. You go through a very stressful missions that are very different from everything a lot of people have experienced. But can you explain to us the way that works in your field?
Yeah, it's pretty specific in this case. So first of all, usually you don't see the death of your enemies. So you're launching some pretty standoff weapon, and you don't see the blood and the parts of their bodies. So in some meaning, it's easier for you, because you can kill more enemy soldiers during the one mission than even the best soldier of the infantry during the war. But at the same time, it will be easier for you because you're just like playing video game. You have buttons, you have sight, and you need to do your job. I believe almost the same feeling for MLRS guys or for artillery guys. They don't see the enemy directly, but it's only for standoff missions. During the first days, there were some cases of pretty close fights between the jets. Of course, it's much more complicated, and as the same situation with close air support missions, when our jets and our helicopters were attacking Russian ground forces just directly on the very close range, and you see all these man pads, all the missiles launched in your jet. Of course, it's it's very hard to explain the feelings of these guys, and unfortunately we've lost a lot of them during such a very dangerous operations. So now the situation is more stable. It's very tough still, but it's more stable, and you know where the front line is, you know where the enemy air defense is, and you're trying to operate more safer. But during the first weeks, first months, it was much harder. So I think that the worst thing in our case is to see how your wingman or your flight lead is shut down. So I know that one of my mates, he's a very experienced attack jet pilot, and he's a great leader, and he is commander of one of the groups on one of the airfields working on the east of Ukraine, and I know that he have already lost 3 wingmen during the war, and as I know, all of them were young guys. Some of them were killed by the ground air defense. Some of them were killed by Russian jets, and it's very frustrating that talking to him, you call yourself as a fighter pilot, but man, I can't help you. I'm not a fighter pilot on this war. I can't cover you against their fighter jets. I can't secure you. So such situations are pretty hard to discuss, and pretty hard for the pilots. But anyway, usually pilots, especially fighter pilots, are very positive guys, and a lot of jokes, a lot of talks about women, about ladies. It helps us to be in good moral state, and to be ready to fight 24/7.
Yeah, because this is actually will be my last question in this concern, because as it happens, so I have a couple of close friends who are airmen in the United States military, and we've been friends before the war. I'm not an agent, but the thing is that they have a very specific culture in their squadron and whatever. And I was going to ask, you say you kind of, again, I like how you say stuff and then I can just drag a question out of it. So like they also have this culture of like jokes, and they're very specific kinds of fun, and they're very specific rituals, and they do stuff together a lot. Do you guys in Ukraine already or have you always had this also a very specific culture of like a subculture, if you will, in the military?
Yeah, sure, we have, but at the moment, it's also like a transition process, because it's pretty logical that we have a lot of Soviet traditions and post-Soviet traditions in our armed forces, and in the Air Force, and in the fighter pilot community as well. But since the active cooperation started between our nation and between Western nations, we are introduced in this community, and we are familiar with their traditions, and we are trying to change the minds of our older guys and of all the community, and trying to create our authentic traditions. And the war is pushing us to make it more and more authentically. But yeah, the Western Air Force, they are like great examples for us. Their songs, their jokes, their patches, everything. Yeah, it's a great subculture. It's like special forces. It's pretty same because your team is small enough, so you're very close during the flights, during the preparation, during the ground trainings, and usually in the aviation unit, almost everyone, not only pilots but also the ground personnel, and the ground personnel has its own community, its own tradition. So yeah, we are trying to make it look like in the Western countries, but authentically.
Do you personally have like a tradition or like a ritual that you can tell us about?
Nothing special at the moment. I at least I can't remember something interesting.
Nothing
specific.
like running around the plane 3 times before flying
Yeah,
or something, like sports people do.
Our pilots superstitious usually.
Yeah, but not during the war, because you just don't have time to do that, especially fighter pilots, because during the QRA, quick reaction alert duties, so you're in the highest readiness status. So you have just a few minutes to get in your jet in the cockpit and to start up and to take off, and it's a 24/7 mission. So you just don't have time for anything before you jump in the cockpit. So yeah, it's just minutes. So
there you go, very professional, no superstitions, just tick 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 all the way to go. That's
but everyone has like some specific procedures. It's maybe not something fancy, but like procedures for yourself. For example, during such missions like this, like interception from QRA status, my personal procedure is to eat something, because you just woke up and you need to hunt some Shaheeds or cruise missiles, and it can be an hour in the air, and you need to be in good physical state, and that's why I'm trying to eat at least something, like some Snickers or something like that prior jumping to the cockpit. So it's like personal procedures.
By the way, if you have more time for this, but like pilots of fighter jets, they need to have this great reaction time. They need to have this great concentration. Do you guys have some I don't know, special diet or special do need to sleep for some time or something like that, like something you have to do in order to be in good mode?
Yeah, absolutely, and actually we have a lot of different regulations, a lot of documents regulating these questions, but during the wartime it doesn't work.
Okay.
It doesn't work like that because, as I mentioned before, we use a lot of airfields, and you can't be sure that there is a good mass ready to make your meals, because you're the first guy landed here since 1991, and so you never know. You never know where you will land, and what conditions will be there. And sometimes you have like only a few hours to sleep between sorties. But nowadays it's like more stable. So nowadays it's much better. But during the first weeks, it was very non-standard, not according any regulations. So we were just surviving. In all meanings.
I could ask like for several hours straight, but we should wrap it up, I guess.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
We should let you go do your duty
and get some rest. Thank you very much. It was like it was a real pleasure, and yeah, thanks.
Mark, I think this was like the best podcast we did.
Oh yeah, the best.
Oh
best
yeah.
one. Right, Juice. Thank you very much. Is there anything you want to say to our audience, to give some message to our listeners?
Yeah, thank you for this great opportunity to show the case, to show our problems and our needs to people, and I think it's very important for our country at the moment, because F-16s, or actually Western jets, are crucial need for all the country, and not only for Air Force, not only for military, but we need to save our country itself. We need to save infrastructure too. We need to save people first of all. So we need to secure our citizens. You watched a lot of videos of these brutal attacks of our cities. You can see a lot of examples on the front line and on the border. This terroristic bombardments of these cities near the border. And we need to respond them. We need to fight back, and we need these capabilities. F-16 can help us to win this war much faster and with less losses of infantry on the ground, of pilots in the air, and civilians in cities. We need F-16s, and we will win.
And hopefully we'll get them.
Oh yes, and hopefully
As soon
we'll
as
win
possible.
and get them. Yes.
Thank you
Great.
very much.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you too.